Alrighty, guys, welcome back once again. We are back live, Leather Pocket, Calgary, Alberta. My name is Grant. I'm sitting beside the one and only first time on the mic, Mr. Chris Demers. How are you, Chris?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me out. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. Final day. Great match to start. Joe Spence taking on Albert Augustin?
Augustin.
Yeah. I always have issues with the last names that are spelled.
I get that a lot myself, to be honest.
Yes. Although we've known each other for a while, so I know your name.
Well, and with these two, this should be a good match.
Yeah.
Albert's been doing a lot on the 9-foot, and he's got a really good game for this. So, and obviously, Joe goes without saying how strong he is.
Yeah. Yeah, he's put in a ton of time over the last month. Joe's really kind of put some time, put some effort in, really trying to up his game to the next level.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people that are doing that right now with these tournaments in Calgary now that here at the Leather Pocket, they're now doing tournaments on the 9-foots on both Friday and Sunday, so that really gives a chance for a lot of players to get a lot of experience on it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been coming out to quite a few of them, and they're talking about 25 to 35 players each tournament, so it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of credit has to be given to Jeff Wanless there for what's been going on here at the Leather Pocket as of late. He's done a great job putting events together and putting things together.
So here in the opening rack, saw Albert go after a 1-4 combo and miss it. Using the rest, sometimes it's real tricky to make sure that you get the straight line on it.
Yeah, that rest can be tricky. It's an art form to be able to use that rest properly.
Well, I know a lot of people have moved to just getting an extension instead so that they can use that less and less, just because it is something that is a real skill.
Yeah, I play with the Predator extension on my cue at all times. I've got the extra 1 inch on the Revo as well, and then with that extra extension, just kind of it flattens me out a little bit because I'm on the taller side.
Yeah, in the same way. I actually have 2 shafts on my cue, and I actually got a second shaft that had an extra inch or 2.
Oof. Really valiant effort to try to get underneath that 7-ball. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, no worries. I think he was trying to play it as a 2-way because it looked like he was trying to bank the deuce back as well.
And how are you, Laura? As with everybody else on this fine Sunday afternoon here in Calgary, Alberta. If you are just joining in, you know what to do. Help us out. Hit that share button. Let's get some viewers hopping. Chris and I will do our best to keep you as entertained as what we possibly can. We do have both chats open, both on Facebook as well as YouTube. So if you do have any questions, feel free to ask away. We'll do our best to answer any questions that do come in. Oh, you don't see Joe often miss those one-rail kicks. Not terrible, though. He might play the 2-ball off the 9 into that right side pocket, depending on the angle and how far past that 9-ball is. It looks a little high.
I almost think he might try and play it towards...
Could play the 2-4 combo.
I almost like playing it towards the side just because you can roll to the center of the table, and the 3's pretty straightforward there.
Mm-hmm. Good call. It's a little bit close to the work. Trying to get to that 2.
But you don't really have to do anything with it.
No.
That's kind of where the advantage is of ball in hand there.
I think you pretty much just a hit and a stick. If you want to roll forward a touch, you can, but that'll bring in the 8-ball. I like the corner. That's a much better shot. Bigger pocket.
Well, the sides on here tend to be a little bit larger, right? And again, going towards the ball rather than away from it. But he's not moving very much, so.
Yeah, great shot. And good on the 3. Nothing to do here. Make the 3 pocket weight off that left rail. Just clear the 8 on the way back out. And you'd be sitting good on the 4-ball. Kind of want to stay to the left side of that table, though.
Well, with the 4 on the right side of the horn, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, you don't want to go too far. Makes it a little, it's a little complicated now, trying to get back for that 5 ball.
Well,
Right, if you stay more to that left side instead of going over, he crossed the center line of the table, so he is to the right side. So putting and going or trying to go 3 rails here now becomes a little bit more difficult because the angle out's a little sharp.
Yeah, from the left side you have more options. You can go 3 rails. You can kind of play a back shot to the left side and play a 2-railer, or you can just play the straight back. Now you really only just have the backspin.
Yeah, well, and that can go wrong on a lot of different levels if you don't hit it hard enough, just like this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the trouble trying to draw out of there. If you stay to that left side of the table, it gives you a nice natural 3-rail around for that 5 ball.
Yeah, very much so.
Although, I don't know whether Joe's going to like his next shot.
Left the edge of it, I think.
I don't know. No, I think he's got full ball hookage. If he does have it, he's got the shine of the ball. I just kind of looked down the barrel at it. I think Joe may have to kick 1 rail. And really, I mean, when you're talking the shine of the ball, it doesn't really leave a lot of angle to get out of there and play any kind of effective safe.
Well, the thing is, with just the edge of the ball, because you're throwing it towards the 7 or behind the 10, your cue ball is going to travel, and you can have it travel up to the top end of the table and leave the 5 pretty much in the middle on the bottom here.
Only problem is when you're shaving the 5 ball that thin, it's not going to travel as fast, but your cue ball is going to go around pretty quick. So there is that chance to double hit that 5 ball.
Yeah, very true. It's a control issue.
But we'll see what he does here. Maybe he just plants the 5 towards that 7 ball.
He goes the other way and basically splits the side.
Very well done. Nice control. Only a 1-game spot. Very little chance here. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that, Joe. Albert plays some pretty sporty 10 ball, especially on the big tables. He's got a great stroke. I know it's kind of got that Filipino swagger to that stroke, but he's got a very powerful stroke. Could he have gone rail first on the 4 ball? He could have. It was close enough to the pocket. The only problem is that the angle coming out of that 4, it brings in the scratch on that top left-hand corner. Want to bet then, LOL? No, I can't bet against my man Joe. As much as, we try to keep commentary neutral. I think it's probably well known that you can't bet against bet against Joe.
I don't mind this result here because he kind of has to play the safe. He really can't go for it because it's how thin it was. He couldn't get back to the 7.
Well, and even trying to put that into the side pocket, I mean, on these diamond tables, you catch any part of the horn and it ain't going in.
Yeah, but he's a pretty natural safe going on there, so.
Yeah. He wanted that a little bit tighter to that 9 ball, but he'll take it.
The trick I find with these safeties, particularly getting out of them, is trying to find an angle that you get to that leaves the ball as difficult as possible, particularly when you have as few number of balls left on the table. It becomes a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. Did he get away with it?
No.
I think 5 passes that 9 ball fairly easily. It's really a matter of how do you get down to the 7. Can you power this in with right-hand spin on that cue ball, and will it collide with the 9 ball on the way after the contact with that side rail?
Given that he's coming into it from the right side of the ball, you could play it around the way 4 rails.
You could.
To come to the bottom one, but you got to give it a stroke.
Powerful stroke. I think he's just got to.
Caught that horn.
There's a problem with the diamond tables. Got to hit the center pocket, especially on those sides. They just spit stuff out. Jerry Hulk in the building, question mark. I don't think so.
A nice little force follow there. Just kind of let it naturally drag.
Yeah, he's got a nice angle here. Didn't come in flat on that 7. Nice little pocket weight shot. Really doesn't have to do a whole lot here. Just clear clear the 10. Might want to go to the high side. Didn't quite get there. Now he's got to let that cue ball travel a little bit, maybe 3 rails around.
Yeah.
Could take what the table gives you, if depending on, I guess, how you're feeling in the morning. My morning pool, I probably wouldn't allow the cue ball to travel. I'll just take my medicine.
First game, you know, try and make sure that you don't do too much and just leave yourself some simple, straightforward shots to kind of get in stroke.
Yeah, and I like what he did there. Just take what the table gives him. Don't try to do too much. Typically, you'll find that if you try to do too much, that's where things go wrong.
Yeah, especially in the morning. I've played in a lot of tournaments where you've got long days, and some people are morning people, some people are not. I find that the majority of pool players tend toward the evening rather than the morning. So
my game is at the point where I really can't raise the level of it at this point. Too much going on. So I've decided, Chris, I'm going to put my game up for adoption, given that I can't raise it anymore.
I was wondering where you were going with that one to start.
It's a good little segue into that.
That was nice. So Albert snags the first game here and now gets the break. So what do you think about the break on these tables for a 10-ball break? Like,
it's tough, you know. We hear it a lot in the league as well on 10-ball that the break in 10-ball, and I know it even on a 7-foot table, the break is tough in 10-ball. It's kind of an art form. It takes a lot to really master that break, and it varies so much depending on what size of table, what cloth are you playing on, right? Same as everything else in pool, but yeah, on this table in particular, it's been breaking tough. A side or B side? I believe this is A side. I know, Warren. I don't have much of a game.
I know that's not true.
Summertime in Canada, no. Well, I mean, yes, we're not down at minus holy you-know-whats, but yeah, it's not bad temperature-wise out compared to what it could be.
Yeah, Almanac is saying that for February it's actually going to be quite a warm winter for us, so that's good to hear.
You know, I don't mind that. Just coming back from Tucson, and even better than Tucson on our way back, we had a 3-hour layover in Los Angeles. And so we decided to exit the airport, and it was 26 beautiful degrees in Los Angeles on our way back from Tucson.
So Joe tried to play it safe and put it behind the 7, and it kind of leaked out a bit, leaving him a chance
leaving
for
the window. But I mean, tough shot here. If that 9's on that horn. Oh, great shot.
Yeah, I like how he played that there. You know, so many people like to try and play that softly in order to try and hold the one near the pocket. But if you catch the wrong side of it, then you've got the one on the left-hand horn, and you can't really get it again. So playing it a little heavier is nice.
I agree. Let's see what Albert tries to do with this rack here.
Just trying to make sure that it doesn't impede the 2 if he gets there.
Yeah, smart. Just move it out of the way. Still a tough little run out here, though. Especially he underhit that.
Yeah, it was pretty straight, so he
Kinda
had to give it a little more power.
Yeah, he kind of hit that with a stun shot.
Well, the stun shot there with the 2 rails is good. One of the things, if he puts any sort of right on it or something to try and move it around, the issue is that the 4 could be in play.
It could be, but he could have got closer there. He needed to smooth stroke that.
Agreed.
Kind of punched it a little bit.
When you smooth stroke it like that.
Yeah, right? He needs to play position when you can pot like that. Albert should be spotting Joe. I'll tell you, Albert, you can't take anything away from him. Right? He plays in almost every weekly tournament. He's put a lot of time in on these 9-foots.
I believe, Laura, that it is only just cue ball fouls. I don't believe it's all ball at this point.
And for those curious, Mr. Francis is playing on the table. If you're looking at the screen, he is playing directly to the table on the left, leading 2-0.
Yeah, I think we're down to, what is it, 10
Top
or,
six,
10 or 12?
I think.
Okay. Must have played late then last night.
It wasn't too terrible. I think I got home by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's not bad at
Somewhere
all.
in there, yeah. It actually went really smooth for as many games as what the players have, right? Like this one's a 7 or an 8-7 race. Ben had to start the show with a 10-5 race.
So potentially 14 games.
Mm-hmm. And on a 9-foot playing 10 ball, that seemingly could drag out for quite some time. But
Well, I was interested in the format of this. Unfortunately, because I was engaged on Saturday, I couldn't come play. But the format of this is something that I think is something we should think about trying to do more often. Something where you now have to deal with the differences in Fargo. Obviously, for the majority of tournaments where it's a straight race, that definitely favors the stronger player and forces the player who's got a lower Fargo to compete more strongly. This kind of gives a bit of balance here.
it depends on your perspective, right? Like, Joseph. Open, he tried to drag that, right? Maybe even decelerated a bit in the stroke to get that drag to take, but it depends on your perspective, right? So myself, I'm not a fan of handicaps, right? You can handicap the money, I have no problem with that. But handicapping the game, I'm not a big fan. I never have been. I wasn't raised or brought up through pool that way. I used to go to the tournaments and well under hit by Albert. And
again with that rest.
Yeah. And I used to go every week. I'd get pounded into the pavement and pounded into the pavement and pounded into the pavement. But if you're looking to up your game and get your game better, playing a spot or getting a few games on the wire, it's not going to do the intended purpose, in my opinion. So long-term, long run for billiards, is it?
Ooh.
Oh, my
Be
goodness.
careful on the cue ball there.
Oh, look at what he left for Joe here. From downtown, out of a pocket. We'll see how smooth Joe's stroke's looking this morning.
Yeah, one of those long shots.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, on one hand, I get it out of the, depending on the perspective and the lens that you're looking through, I get it when it comes to the business side for a pool hall and so on and so forth, because it does attract players in. And, as a business, that's always a good thing in a pool hall, to have more people in the building than not. But for the overall health of the game and for the health of everybody's game, great shot.
Just
pounds it.
So what I'm thinking on that is, though, I'm not suggesting that you actually do it every tournament. In general, if you want to get better, if you're trying to improve, you definitely need to compete against tougher players. You definitely need to feel that pressure, and playing a regular race is like that. What I think this tournament and ones of this style provides is it provides that challenge not only to the players who are up and coming, but also to the stronger players who now feel like they have to play at the top of their game, and it, I think, helps force them improve. When you play one of these tournaments where you're playing someone who's, let's say, 100, 150 points below you, and you're playing just a race, it's easy enough to be a little bit more lackadaisical about it.
Sure.
And this forces them to stay sharp.
Yeah, and I get that perspective, and I'll counter that to play devil's advocate a little bit. You take a guy like Joe Spence and Ben Francis and Steven and all those guys that play at the top level. Even in the room here, you got Mike Robinson and a few other top end players here in Calgary, and you know, they've put a ton of time in. They've gone through the ranks. They got their, same as I did, go through, and no handicaps at that, you know, stage coming up through the ranks. And they've put their time in. They've put their money in. Now all of a sudden, you know, in today's world, we're asking to give those players that have put in the time and the effort to get themselves to a certain level, to just give all that up and give the guy that doesn't practice, that doesn't really care about the game as much, or is not quite as skilled because he hasn't put the time in, an equal chance at the money. And that I'm not a fan of.
I see what you're saying. I'm just going to stop and interrupt here for just a sec.
Certainly.
Albert just wired a beautiful 210 in there to take a 2-1 lead. So
Wow, I didn't even see it. I was looking at you.
yeah, the 2 and 10 were kind of lined up pretty well to give him a good chance on it, and he hit it very nicely. So absolutely, I know what you're talking about there. That you know, there's the thought of paying your dues and stuff like that. And that's, again, why I wouldn't suggest that you would have every tournament like that. I think having a good balance and mix of them to give that sort of different perspective.
A good
on it.
balance, a good mix is not terrible.
Oh, look at that break. That's 3 balls on the break. Albert is hitting it very nicely.
Right, and it is a pretty controversial topic. And again, depending on what player you're talking to, you're going to get a different answer.
Oh, like everything else in pool, I think there's probably 12 different sides to every story.
You're right.
So he's hit that well, but he's left it pretty straight on the 4, which makes getting
position to the 5 is a little tough.
If he can potentially, it might be slightly to the right, so he might be able to force it and cheat a little bit on the right-hand side to come 2 rails, or he might just play backspin. Yeah.
Well, he did draw. It looks like that 5-7 could be wired to the corner. Looking down the barrel, it's not wired, so the weight of this shot.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that if you're hitting the 7 straight, you could probably hit. If you hit it slowly enough, you could hit it up maybe even as much as a diamond. Oh, or you can just slice the 5 right in and not even touch it.
Yeah, and I think, Warren, I think with every system, for me, it's not just Fargo. It's every system. Every system has their flaws. I look at Fargo, and there's some good points that Warren brings up in what's included, what's not included, what should be included, what shouldn't be included. But then you get, Fargo's easy to kind of cheat the system a little bit and not be accurate. And I'll say this, I can't fault Fargo for that. If you're trying to cheat the system, that's not a function of the system. That's a function of the player trying to cheat the system, right?
You're always going to try and find people that try and game the system no matter what it is. One of the things that I think is good with the Fargo system and the gentlemen that are participating in making it better is that they are constantly working at and evolving the process of how they calculate scores and how they deal with second order effects and how they deal with, the drop off of games after time. So they are evolving the process of how they generate the numbers, and that's going to make it better in the long term.
Certainly, they're still going to refine their processes and make things better.
We'll be running our Sunday 10 ball too today, starting at 2. 10 ball pots at 2,900. We'll do 5 draws at 5:30.
Wow. All right, guys. So apparently, I was just whispered in my little ears that Leather Pocket is still going to run their weekly 10 ball. Weekly 10 ball today, starting at 2 o'clock. The break pot is sitting at $2,900. 5 draws will be done to win the cash.
Ooh, I may have to cut my commentary short and walk over.
Right? Sorry, guys. We won't be able to bring you the finals because we'll all be playing in the weekly tournament.
Oh. Joe just broke it off and hit it a little bit to the right, so it spun, and with the top spin put it in the side pocket.
directly.
Yeah. That's one of those breaks when you're doing that top to stop. You if you get it just off center, then it's going to push it towards one of the sides, and that can happen.
Yes.
Something I've been struggling with quite a while in my break, and when it works well, it works very well. When it works wrong,
Oh, for sure, Mike. We knew that Chris would be good on the mic. Technically, genius level commentating.
I appreciate the comments. You know, it's whenever you try and do something new like this, and particularly with a crowd, you're always worried whether you're doing it right or wrong. And
you know, this is part of you know, with and I don't want to sound like I'm patting myself on the back here. How can I put this without sounding that way? Because I don't mean it that way. But when I try to get guest commentators on, I'm very acclimated to this, right? This is nothing new for me. I've done it a billion times. So to lead that conversation and engage you is how a veteran will bring in somebody new, and we both together will do really well.
Yeah.
Right. But if I'm not engaging with you as a commentator, then I'm not doing my job.
Absolutely, and also not only engaging with whoever's beside you, the classic play-by-play in color people, but also making sure. And one of the strong things that I've seen on this stream and with what you guys have brought is you're also engaging with the people who are watching, obviously taking the comments in and responding back. That's a really, really useful thing that I think most people don't recognize how much value there is there, because it's having just sort of a sportscaster, you're talking to a dead screen is one thing, and you can get something out of it. I think having the ability to be interactive gives it another dimension.
Well, and that's all done by intention, right? That was something we decided right away, that we were always going to be engaging with our audience. And I think for the most part, we always have been. There's certainly times where technology kind of gets in the way and our comments don't post or what have you, but those are kind of the one-off scenarios.
Well, and obviously with the feedback you've gotten on it, I think that it's been a good success.
Yeah, and still lots to go. We're not naive to the fact that we still have some growth to accomplish. We still have some things that we want to do, and what we're experiencing today and what's coming out here in the next week and a half or so is the result of planning over the last 6 years. And it takes time to build that momentum, to build a viewership, and we did it really at the grassroots, right? We did it at the amateur side of pool. We did do the odd pro that was on the stream every now and again, and so now we're going to add that to the fold, so to speak. And so I think, in terms of growth and where we're going to go with Q Sports Live, a lot of this will start to make sense over the course of the next week and a half as we start bringing out announcements and, some of the bigger things that we've been working on. And we'll just continue to grow, to be innovative as much as we possibly can.
Sounds great. If it's good for the game, I'm absolutely all for it. And if it presses the other groups that are doing streaming to improve their game, which improves pool in general,
that's exactly it. And I don't mind being pushed, right? I'm not scared of the big bad wolf. I'm not scared of competition. It's a good thing, and at all levels, right? Whether you're podcasting or streaming, and it doesn't matter who, what, when, where, why. If you're doing a good thing and it's growing the game of pool, I like it.
So we're just on a bit of a break here. Joe just needed to go and grab a couple of things. So,
are we on break?
I think he's just took a short break here I think he grabbed some water. I think he was just taking a quick trip to the restroom.
Gotcha. Time out. Somebody blow the whistle. My emoji ref, he's on it.
It's when the emoji starts making the calls on the table. That's when it's going to get interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, not so much in tournaments anymore, Warren. I know back in the day, where it gets a little bit gray, and that old rule used to be when people were using the cue as a measuring device. And so if you laid it on the table with the intention of, looking at the path of the cue ball or path of the object ball or whatever, using it as a measuring device, then it's still a foul. But you know, Joe's leaving the table, walked over, put the cue on the table to say, hey, I'm going to go take a break. I'll be right back. There's no intention behind him laying the cue on the table. So
Yeah, that's a
all
key
good.
difference, I think. And
Yeah.
having said that, to be honest, I wouldn't do it, and I've never done that in my matches, and I wouldn't recommend it just because, avoiding any sort of miscommunication or causing any problems with something like that. But yeah, here it's obvious that there's no intent to do anything with it. So
Yep.
so while we're waiting, just kind of looking around here, how's Ben doing?
Looks like 4-1
All right.
in favor of Mr. Francis. I don't know what their races are. I don't know what he's going to. If it's a 10-5 race, then he's almost covered the spot. 2 more games to go, which I know, when you look at through the lens or through the perspective of the player that has to run to the most games, that's the first thing in the mind is to cover that gap, right? Get to an even race, right? So I know with Joe, he's looking to get up by a game and then pad that lead, get up by 2, and then you can go toe for toe.
Yeah, if he were to win one more here, then it's essentially a race to 5 for both of them. But starting fresh, and then he's going to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, and I think it's Warren. It's if you're playing an old school player in Vegas, they'll certainly remember that rule. Where if you're using that cue, to line up a shot or see the angles, and you lay it down and let go, it would then be considered a measuring device, which is a foul. But I think in the intention of what Joe did, there was no intent to measure anything. Nice shot. Look out, 8 ball.
His weight was pretty good there, but
It
now
was very good.
he's either going to look to a safe or potentially the combo. I don't think the 3 goes clean. Or even take it long to the corner. Oh, I
Clean
was
to the
wrong.
heart.
I was wrong. Definitely a case where
It's tough to see these angles, eh?
looking
Sometimes
at it
what
on the
goes by.
screen, it definitely looks a little bit skewed.
Yeah, nice angle on the 6 ball. Can check the rail. Come pretty much back to where he's at right now. Within that same line. And then it's hit and stick, hit and stick, hit and stick. Tic-tac-toe.
A lot of stun shots.
A lot of stuns.
Stun to the rail and move out. Like that last shot was one where you're just simply playing it as a stun, and then you just basically control the weight to control the position. Same thing right here.
Joe's starting to find his stroke. I can tell.
Sometimes
when he starts to feel good.
Sometimes taking that little break gives you that little chance to refocus. And
Well, and I think it's, I saw it all day yesterday too, and it didn't matter who it was, whether it was Joe or any other match. But, usually it's at 2-3, sometimes up to 4 games before you start to really kind of get into the groove and get a feel for the table and so on and so forth. So, under hit,
no, yeah, a little bit. He should be fine.
he'll be all right, but still a little bit under hit. Nicely done. Covers the spot.
All right, so now we're just at a straight race to 5.
Hey, thanks there, Mike. Appreciate it. So we may as well talk about the CSL IPL. That is the next session coming up. If you're going to any bigger event, whether that's in Vegas for VNEA, BCA, so on and so forth, this is the way you want to prepare. This will get you as prepared as what you possibly can be to go into those live events. CSL IPL, we've got a division for all levels of play. It is playing the Ghost, open to all players around the world. Next session starts February 7th. You can go check that out at cslipl.com and get Ghost trained. Some of the best training that you'll get out there.
Okay, so I think that's, if I recall, that's the second time I think that Joe's broken where he's rattled that ball right in the top left.
Yeah, and he might be going back to his regular breaking cue.
One of the strengths about the better players, and one of the things that they're very, very good at, particularly mid-match, is that ability to make adjustments, whether it's in the stroke or on the break or, that is what makes them so difficult in a longer race where they've got all this extra experience and knowledge to draw on.
Yeah. Well, and it's not only acclimating to the equipment really quickly, but going from table size from a 9 to a 7 to Valley cloth, Simonis cloth, they seem to adjust amazingly quick, where I struggle with that on so many different levels.
It is, part art, part science on that. The amount of time that they put in, along with the knowledge that they've generated, definitely makes it easier for them. Anyone can learn it, I think, but they've spent the time learning that, and there is a bit of a talent to it. There's a bit of an ability to adjust your stroke appropriately, and I'd love to be able to do that as well as they could, and I think when you do, you start getting a benefit right away.
Yeah, of course. I'm not sure if the one passes the 9 to that left side. Oh, all day long. All day long and twice on Sundays.
Okay, that's one each that we get.
One
there.
each, yeah.
Okay, so how straight is he on this? Because normally I would just see if he could just push it forward to the right side rail and then just to the center of the table he should have the combo.
I'm not sure if he can. I think he's just got to float past the 6.
That'll work as well.
Yeah. And I kind of thought he might brush the bottom side of the 6, right? So, I mean, tricky little shot. He made it look easy. Nice combo. Control the rock. That came off a little bit live off that top rail.
Again, another one of these tricky things with combos is that you're trying to control where your first ball ends, typically because you want to put it in the same pocket.
Exactly.
But then controlling the weight and angle becomes even more of a challenge because you're trying to do two things at once.
Yeah. James is asking, does Fargo or does Fair Match make it a coin flip? I won't say it makes it a coin flip. It just tightens up the odds a little bit. Depending on the players that are playing, who you're playing against. I think it still favors the more advanced players, but they certainly have to be on their game.
Well, and when you get to the point where you're dealing with guys of this sort of caliber, there's no slouches, right? Like
No.
A 660 is not someone who is going to just give away racks. They know what they're doing. So that's where, this, while it tends to favor the stronger player, you could easily see the lower Fargo player play well enough to be able to deal with it. Oh, just missed.
Nice effort. Laura says, I was watching Rod's stream yesterday. Jason Klatt uses a wood shaft on the bar box and then carbon fiber on the 9-footers, as do other guys. They do, and he does. And there's a couple of different reasons for that. On the bar box, you're working in tighter angles, tighter spaces, and the wood shaft allows you to kind of manipulate and bend those angles a little bit more than what the carbon fiber does. The carbon fiber, really low deflection. And so going to the 9-foot tables where you want to be a little bit more precise, that's where the advantage of the carbon fiber comes into play.
I hear what you're saying. I think with a really good carbon fiber shaft, though, it plays well enough on both of them that you may not want to have the extra expenditure to have both types of shafts. Like I use carbon fiber on both the small and the large ones, having got them from one of your sponsors, Nick here, who does such a fantastic job. And I absolutely love it on both sides of the tables.
Yeah. Well, and I think when you get to the level of a Jason Klatt or, one of those high-end guys, they have that ability to kind of manipulate those angles more so than the average player. And so they will notice and recognize the difference in what each of those shafts gives them the ability to do or not do. And for Jason in particular, I know that's exactly why he does it. He can manipulate, and same as Alex Paguline. He's kind of the same way where, you watch when he plays on those small tables, he loves to manipulate all those angles and, really stretch out getting position. And the wood shaft certainly allows for that a little bit more than what the carbon fiber does. Carbon fiber is certainly way better as far as transfer of power is concerned, You don't have to hit the ball as hard. That's going to roll
I think
out.
he hung it.
Yeah. I could tell right from the pull of the trigger.
Well, and he played so well to get there, right? The
Yeah.
9 hadn't, he wasn't sure whether the 9 passed the 10 to the lower one, and so he played the 3-railer to come out to it and got a little bit longer than he wanted. He made a good stroke at it.
You did. This will square up the match again. And it is a winner break format.
I believe Albert's going to go and get his extension. I don't think he wants to use the rest on this one.
Yeah. Given the track record in this match so far, I think that's a good call.
Well, there's definitely the two styles of using the rest. You know, you see the more conventional pool players who use sort of an overhand grip where their
Now this should
arm is
never
up and
be
down.
allowed.
No, this is not right. And then you see, you know, I was originally raised on snooker, and that's where you see a lot of the snooker players which actually use a sidearm use with the cue and the rest, where they're actually moving it this way instead of
the
they're
elbow,
going up and down.
Elbow out.
Yeah, and
I use the elbow out.
I
That's
do
a
as well.
lot. That's a snooker way of doing it.
Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah, that shot there, Albert should have taken that cue off the table. I'm not a fan of what he did there.
If he'd hit it hard and the cue ball had touched his cue, that's an automatic foul. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just have a little bit more respect for your opponent in the game than to walk in and run over, grab a different cue that does have an extension on it, but leave your normal playing cue on the table. Just not something we want to see.
No. Well, and this goes back to the earlier discussion we had around when you can and when you can't. The game was active at that point, so leaving it on there, I think, is a clear no-no.
Yeah, I think if Joe wanted to argue the fact, and Joe's not going to do that, but if he wanted to argue the fact, he could argue the fact that is a foul.
Not with that shot, but
even that shot,
I'd probably
could have a case. You could argue.
Probably
that
warn
case.
him and say, don't do that again.
I would tend to think it's more on the unsportsmanlike side of the coin than anything else, but
All right.
again, always tough to judge that gauge on where that is.
So a dry break here. I think Joe's probably going to look at playing a safety where he's going to try and hide the cue ball behind the 7 and the 10 somewhere, possibly behind the 8 if he hits it slowly. Oh, he's going to do it the other way and put the 1.
Oh, that'll work perfect.
Definitely a question if it was easier to control the object ball than the cue ball there, and you really should be looking at controlling one, if not both.
Yeah, he did a really good job there.
That 9 might make the jump a little tricky.
It does. It certainly does. Pool etiquette 101, I would have to agree. I was not a fan of seeing that happen.
No. So he's going to try and take the short rail here and go to it.
It's a
And
good
he hit
shot.
it.
Look out.
However,
Albino down the subway.
still getting used to your euphemisms on the stream here.
Yes. I've got a few. What's going on, Mike? Thanks for tuning in. You know, while you're at it, while you're listening to Chris and I blab about pool, you may as well give that share button a little love down at the bottom left-hand side of the screen. See if we can get a few more viewers going here on a Sunday afternoon. We would certainly appreciate it. The more the merrier. It's always a lot of fun.
How many are we looking at between the streams right now? About 100?
Yeah, between the two.
Pretty good for a Sunday morning. You could always have more. I always love watching pool when I'm not playing.
Yeah, I'm addicted to it.
That might be
I watch a lot.
the degenerate player in me, but
Pool player degenerate fits so good in a sentence. Uh-oh. Understroked big time. And maybe we're seeing a little bit of that morning pool kind of rust. I know it's afternoon, but for pool players, it's still morning. Something I would consider morning.
Early enough for some.
Early enough for some, and on a work day, no problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm up early, you're up early, we all go do our thing at work. But when it comes to pool should not start till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
When it can.
Yes.
You know, you go down to some of the big tournaments where you have the 8 to 10 a.m. starts. It's it's definitely, you see the class of them that can do it and the ones that can't. Albert goes to play a good 3-railer to play safe here and gets a good result.
I think he got away with one a little bit there. I think he was trying to hide the cue ball behind the 4, but kind of bumped it a bit. So I think he might have got away with it a little bit there. But still a good shot.
With the weight he was hitting, I think he was pretty good even
He
with
was
the
safe,
touch.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one of the keys, right? Again, whether you're controlling the cue ball or the object ball here.
Yeah. And hello, Paul, tuning in from Wisconsin. Where's everybody else tuning in from? We may as well ask, and your sofa or lazy boy does not count.
Well, we've got one from Connecticut that just signed
Connecticut
in.
in the house. What's going on, Sean? Being on the DL, the streams are my pool fix indeed. How come you're on the DL, though? Are you a closet pool fan? Laura, I know you've been on lots before with Q Sports Live.
On Montana?
That Montana or Minnesota? MN.
I think Minnesota's MI. Or
Oh,
that
it
might
is.
be Michigan.
That might be Michigan.
Good question.
Idaho in the house. How are you, Jack?
New Jersey? Philadelphia?
Victoria in the house. Philly. I'll be down in Philly for the Super Billiards Expo.
That was Montana.
Warren says my desk.
So this is interesting. It looks like Albert might be trying to play
Cue ball
for
right up
the
behind the
3
10
foul
ball.
here because he's gotten the first one.
3 fouling Joe might be tough. Waterloo, Ontario. How are you, Jason?
The other thing is that he may just be going for the foul there because he didn't like the ability to get from the 3 to the 4 there.
Yeah.
The 4 was kind of in a bit of an awkward spot.
New Hampshire in the house. Connecticut in the
Great
house.
hit.
Oh, yeah. Nice answer there from Joe. Very well done.
Really only leaves a safety or into the top right.
I think the shot I would probably play here is the 3 into that 8 ball and just snuggle up the cue ball. It's almost a natural angle to go 1 rail and in behind the 9. CT, I believe that's Connecticut.
Yes, it is.
Lincoln City, Oregon, says James on YouTube. Akron, Ohio. How are you, Robert? Wow. Well, we hope you heal up well, Laura.
Yeah, everyone should get to play as much pool as they want. So, wishing a speedy recovery.
Indeed.
He did go for it.
He did. He dug down deep. Oh, is he going to get away with it? I can't tell from there.
I don't think he did.
I think he got away with it. I think there's enough. I think it's funny. Funny, everybody looks at me when a ref shot is needed, but I'm like, yeah, kind of busy.
A little bit.
just a little busy doing some commentating. That's
So
all.
this is one where I honestly think that the chances of him actually fouling are pretty low, but you bring in the ref or call the ref just to make sure, right? If you're unsure, always call a ref.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had tons of room there.
Lots of room. Lots of room.
I've seen people use it sort of 2 ways. Obviously, you use it if you want to make sure that a shot is clean. I've seen other people use it to put a little pressure on their opponent where they, some people who are unused to having a ref watching their shot or they're concerned about it. It does make it a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, it can be nerve-wracking. We got Ireland in the house. How are you, Spanner? Tuning in from Ireland on YouTube.
I think he's going to force this forward and with a little bit of right. There we go.
Yeah, really nice shot.
Oh, depends on
Watching
the weight.
from Langley, BC for Morgan.
He's good.
Yeah, he's all right there.
It's just a question of whether it got to the rail or not.
Joe looking good here. Regain that 1-game spot. How about new viewers on Q Sports Live? If you're new, first-time viewer, let me know. I'll give you a shout out on the live stream. And while you're at it, you may as well go on to either Facebook or YouTube and like on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, click that little bell as well. By doing so, you'll be notified each and every time that we go live. And I know that we have not been as active on the live streaming as what we were prior to COVID, but we'll get back there. We are looking to head down and stream the VNEA Vegas event. So if you're heading there, you'll find us there, and we'll bring you all the action and tons of action that we're going to be doing in Vegas, including the Suds and Chips, including the banquet, a couple of different live stream areas.
Yeah, from what I've heard, the VNEA tournament is supposed to be a little bit more than their normal tournaments. I think probably because of the couple of years of COVID where things have been a little bit restrained. They're looking at doing something a bit bigger.
Yeah.
I know that last year they brought on Shane Van Boning as their pro representative. I don't think they've had one of those in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
So that I'm looking forward to it. I'm going down. So.
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Albert plays a push, but I think he played it a little lax there. It was risking going behind the 3. Normally when you see a push, you see someone try and push just to touch the rail.
Mm-hmm. Well, Spanner, with it being that time in Ireland, this is definitely a stream that you could, on YouTube, you just copy the link to the stream and post that onto your personal page or any of the pool groups that you're associated with in Ireland. And we'll do our best to keep everybody over there in Ireland entertained. That is certainly my background. Well, my ancestry has an arm that extends into Ireland. From Dublin.
He got away with that one there. He was trying to play it to cut it in, but played it pretty loose. Managed to stick it behind the 10 in a tough spot.
Mm-hmm. And you'll find with Albert, he really likes to move that cue ball around. He doesn't shy away from it. He likes to move that cue ball, and he'll take some of those Efren Reyes-esque type of chances on the table.
Well, I'm not sure I liked that one because he was putting a lot of left on it, though, and it was going to shoot the cue ball around the table, and with the 2 in the same side of the table, it wasn't really going to be a good result for him if he makes it.
Mm-hmm.
But he got away with it there, and Joe ends up fouling.
Yeah. James says, lots easier to watch it on YouTube than on Facebook. We have pause, rewind, and slow. Indeed, yeah, lots of different options on the YouTube side. Ryan up new today.
Pause, rewind, and slow. That sounds like my pool game.
Yeah. How many players are left? I think we're at brought back 6 to 8. Either 6 or 8.
Yeah.
I walked in literally 5 minutes before we started, so. They are 8 hours ahead of us. They are in military time, sitting 1951 in Ireland right now.
Which would put it 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I think Albert played it a little bit loose there because of the rest, and has given himself a tough shot on the 3.
Can he make the 3, or is he just playing for the hit?
I think he might have to spin it a little bit. So here's a rare instance. He's potted it, but potted it into the wrong pocket. So at this point, now Joe would actually have the option of sending it back to him if he wanted to.
I don't think there's ever going to be a chance that Joe sends this one back to him, but I agree with you. Is the weekly 10 ball happening today? Yes, it is. Jeff just made that declaration. It'll start at 2 o'clock. The 10 ball break pot is at 2,900. And they will be doing 5 draws for $2,900.
Oh, some good chances there, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
for sure. If you're in Calgary, come on down, get your chance in to get the cheddar.
Oh, he's given himself a tough shot there. Made the 5 nicely to get on the 6, but he's made it so he's got to jack up over a ball. So that's going to make it hard for him to get shape back to the 7.
North Woods of Wisconsin tuning in. How are you, Brad? Good to see you. And thank you. We certainly try to put our best foot forward.
I think this is probably one of those ones, like you said, where you play it slow and you take what the table gives you here. You can't really go and push it too much. unless you want to try and play safe.
Chris Love Dempsey. Not enough beer in Ireland for me to move there. Needs more beer. The beers. How are you, by the way, Chris? Good to see you on. Hopefully you're doing well. Tough shot. Majorly hampered by that 7 ball. Really can't do, like you mentioned, can't do really much of anything with the cue ball. So in which case, just put full effort into making the 6 ball and kind of take what the table gives you. I wouldn't try to overdo it. Is there a safe shot? Can you chip that 6 ball and avoid that 10-8 with the cue ball and leave the 6 on the bottom rail?
You might be able to, but again, because you're bridging over there, the other aspect is that weight control, which is so key in a good safety shot, is going to make that a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I think you take it on and you take your lumps. I think he called the left side. I think he's trying to play a chip off.
I think he's playing the 2-way here. If he misses the bank pro side, that cue ball should end up back up table. The double kill.
Yeah.
Tough shot no matter what way you were looking at that. Lots of stout there, Chris, if you can handle that stuff.
Well, the way I always look at those cross bank ones is what was always taught to me is that if you look to the pocket that you're crossing, so in this case the bottom right, if the cue ball can't see the pocket cleanly, then the cross bank doesn't go well because it tends to hit itself.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was able to see it there, and as it went, the cue ball hit the 6.
Uh-huh. And how are you, Gene? Tuning in, Georgia in the house. Welcome to Q Sports Live. Doesn't seem like we got any new viewers on, so we appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to join us. Let us talk your ear off. Join us for a little bit of pool action. If you are just tuning in, it is Q Sports live at the Leather Pocket, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. My name is Grant. I'm simply part of the woodwork here at Q Sports Live. I am sitting beside the one and only Mr. Chris Demers. His debut on Q Sports Live commentary.
And I'm enjoying it.
Well, and you're doing well at it. We'll certainly have you back. In fact, I might not let you leave all day.
Well, I'm not playing, so
there you go.
Might be a good thing. I think you just take this slow and stun it. Leaves you a good angle for the 8 to get back to the 9.
Yeah. Gonna have to put a clean stroke on this 8 ball, though.
Well, and of your 3 ball runouts, this is definitely one of the more challenging with both the 9 and the 10 on the rails they're at.
And you don't have to hit this hard. If you hit this clean, a little bit of bottom right, check that left side rail. Go back to the top side rail. You should sit really well. And you see how he kind of tried to steer that ball? And whenever you try to do those extras on those shots, it tends to wobble. However, he kind of got away with it a little bit.
Yeah, he got fortunate in that it hit the left side horn last, so it came to the center rather than go up the table.
Nice little separating safety there from Joe.
Yeah, pretty good, because he can't really do much with it on the bank. He's still not going to get anything on the 9.
He could bank it, but like you said,
leaves a tester.
It does. And really, once you make that decision to go for the bank on the 8 ball, you're almost always kind of stuck where now you're forced to go for whatever you're left with on the 9 ball. Right, you could play it back at Joe the same way here, but if you're going to go for the gusto on the 8, and you know what, I actually like it. I respect that part of it. And he did really well. Really, really well on that shot to control both the 9 ball and the cue ball. But I don't think he's going to like his next shot here.
With only 2 balls on the table, it might be a challenge, but Joe's hit it well.
So, Chris, it's Grant on the mic and sitting beside Chris Demers, his inaugural debut on Q Sports Live.
I am in fact a player. I'm about the same skill level as Grant, and around that sort of low 600 level Fargo. I've been around for a lot of years, just getting a chance to come out and do some commentary and enjoying that. Can't be playing, so you might as well be watching.
That's it. And we appreciate having you. Oh, a little bit on the outside, caught it a little bit thick.
Yeah,
We'll see what Albert can do with this. We've seen this a lot, where on these shots that are kind of tight into that pocket, sometimes this cue ball does some funny things. Hustler.
Here we go.
Uh-oh. Well, Albert was walking away. Wow.
Always a risk with that shot when you play it at that angle.
Yeah.
Hustler, I don't know about that. And
Albert closing that gap, not letting Joe run away.
Leaving it tied up. Yeah, definitely with that shot in the jaws that you were mentioning, one of the challenges with these tables, the shelf is kind of a bit deep here. So
it is very
the
deep.
farther in it gets, the less you can really do with it. And he was a fair bit out there, which made it a lot easier, but you can tell that, the number of times that rattles, that tells you how deep these shelves are.
Yeah. And so here's an interesting little tidbit of knowledge for you, with the new Predator tables that are coming.
Oh, yes.
So on those shots where you got to punch them in, and we've seen that a lot where they just sit and bobble in the pocket, those Predator tables are designed to kick those out. So you won't have those shots where when you punch it in and it catches that horn and sits there. You won't have that with the Predator tables. They're designed and cut in a way to pump that ball back out.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited to see how they do here.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. So one of the things about the rattle in the pocket, if you will, is that if you go for it and you don't play it cleanly and you rattle it, then it's a penalty in the sense that you
certainly
leave a clean ball for the opposing player. But with that, certainly you're going to get a different style of game because you're not going to get those rattles, but there's less of a penalty for making a mistake like that.
Well, and I think you can look at it that way, and I'll give you the other school of thought here as well, where
there's
shot.
A pretty safety.
Yeah, that's nice. The other side to that coin is rather than having it sit there and you particularly getting punished for that, it forces your opponent to earn their run out, not be gifted. So it's more important, I think, especially in rotation games, 9-ball, 10-ball, that the player that wins earns their way, earns their win.
A fantastic jump to make that one. However, he doesn't really get rewarded for it.
Well, and was there a reward, right? In making that jump shot, was there a high likelihood of getting back for the 2-ball?
No, he was almost always going to the left there and not to the right. So, to your point on the Predator table, I absolutely understand what you mean by that, and I'm sure that they've thought that out very well and what their goal is with it, right? Like Predator has fantastic products, so
Well, and they don't just put stuff out. This is one of the things I learned by going to Tucson. I was before Tucson. I can say that I was a fan of Predator, the product, and kind of had an idea of the quality that went in and so on and so forth. And while I was in Tucson, I got the other side to that equation, and getting to know everybody that runs Predator as a team, how they operate as a team, how they operate as a business. And so I went down as a fan of the product, and I came back as a fan of both the product as well as the people running it.
Okay.
Because I got to see the other side of the coin that, not a lot of people do get to see. But the way that they interact with each other, the planning that goes into it, the fact that and I don't know how many people know this, and I don't know if I should be saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway, that Predator's business model is they put 90% of their profits back into the game.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And
How
so
can you
whether
argue with
that's
that?
by way of sponsorship, by way of bringing players in, or sponsoring streams, or equipment for donation for sponsors, or whatever capacity they do it, that's certainly up to them. But the mere fact that they are willing to put 90% of their profits back in the game speaks to the people that run it. And so now I'm a fan of both the company and the product.
Yeah, there's very few companies that are going to do something like that, and it's good. So while we've been yammering on here, we've had a pretty good back and forth game here. A couple of good safeties, a great jump. Albert's just
And again,
left
those deep shelves on these diamond tables, I'll tell you,
he left
they
the
can be
two.
moita.
He left the two really deep in there, and there wasn't a really great way to get back to the 3. Obviously, they'll try and chip this safe.
I think he's trying to play in behind this 5 ball.
Yeah, it was a pretty natural angle to get behind the 10.
Yeah, really great shot.
But with the way that Albert's been jumping this, certainly he's favored to make it, at least to make the contact. The issue is that if he catches it even a touch to the left, that side pocket's very large.
Yeah. He's going for the hop and stop. Up and over the 10. Hit that 3 ball, hopefully stick it.
Well, and here we go. This is another one of those situations where he's made the ball, but in
Joe walked over, had a look at that cue ball and said, "Oh no, that's all you, brother."
yeah, making it in the wrong pocket. The opponent has the opportunity of giving you the shot right back, which he did there.
Are the Predator shelves the same as the Diamonds? Does anybody know? I believe they're very, very similar as far as the depth of the shelf. What's different, as I mentioned, is the cut of those pockets, where you won't get those internal rattles that, where the ball sits in that pocket that's meant to be spit back out. So we will have, excuse me, we'll have a crack in the voice first. But we'll have a couple of those Predator 9-foot tables here at the Leather Pocket sometime in April. And those will be our quote-unquote streaming tables. And on top of that, we'll have the Predator Arena lights that we will be putting up above those tables.
Potentially some action tables, I imagine.
Action tables, yes, you know it.
So Joe just attempted to push the 4 in there and then go to the rail and come out, and he clipped the 10, which has made it a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, and we are a distributor of those 9-foot tables as well. We will have a few coming in April as well, so if you're looking to get your hands on one, certainly let us know, and we can hook you up.
Yeah, I've seen the photos you've shown me of them and what you've described them to me. They sound absolutely gorgeous.
I'll tell you what. No picture out there does those tables justice. So let me just show you one that I took while I was in Tucson of the table, and the pictures just don't do it justice. What size of a pocket will the Predator tables be, Joe? They will be a true 4 1/4 inch pocket. You look at a diamond table; they are not a true 4 1/4.
I thought, maybe I'm wrong on this, I thought they were saying that there was going to be 2 styles that they did with it.
On
if you were
which?
ordering it retail for pocket size.
On Predators?
Yes.
No.
No, just the one?
No. At this point, there's one. I know more than probably what I should, but it is not for me to announce. It is not my story to tell. Ergo, at this point, they are 4 1/4 pocket, and I believe the 9-foot will always be that.
That's good. Speaking as a reasonably good player, having those tight pockets, we absolutely enjoy doing that, right? Like, make the precision level requirement that much higher.
Exactly.
And definitely you can see, I'm just looking at the table right now that Grant's been showing me, and seeing the lighting on the bottom of the table and just the bed itself, the thing looks fantastic.
It's a sexy looking table. Okay, let's be real. Let's be honest. It is a very sexy looking table, and price point wise, they are just a touch over a diamond. They are retail at $89.95 USD, and then we will have those here in Calgary. So it would be shipping from Calgary to wherever you are, and then if you want us to set it up, then as per normal, there's all those. Do you want fries with that? Do you want it supersized? Those are all available for you. But if you have any questions about it, you can send us an email, and that's at sales@qsportslive.com, and I'll be able to get back to you on that. We also have all of the Predator product that we have in stock. That's available on the Q Sports Live website, cslipl.com. When you go there, just look at shop, and we got the cues, the cases, the balls, the everything Predator.
Looks like I'm going to have to take that second job if I want to get that table.
Well, I'll tell you, some of the technology that is coming out, not only in terms of the table, but a few of the other pieces, we'll say, phenomenal. It's one of the meetings that I had scheduled about while I was in Tucson, and I actually I ended up talking to that individual prior to our meeting for about 4 hours. Prior to our meeting, about exactly what was coming up and what we could do and utilizing that tech, and phenomenal stuff.
Oh, when I was at the BCA tournament in September and watched the World 10 Ball, I had a chance to play with and pick up a set of the Arcos 2 balls from Predator, and they're the main staple on my table now. That I think they hit just great. They look great.
They look good. They play good.
If they keep improving their technology and innovating into some of the other products that they haven't done before, I think they're going to be a real powerhouse.
I'll tell you what, when you look at Predator, that is exactly what they do. Constant innovation, constant improvement, and it's I'm a big fan. I went down just as, like I said, I went down to Tucson as just a fan of the product. I had a few phone calls and Zoom meetings and so on and so forth with the head guy at Predator, and as good as what that was, to have that meeting time, to get to be able to go one-on-one, face to face with him, the team, everybody behind Predator, it was a really big, eye-opening experience with how they run as a business.
Oh, that's great.
I'm just a massive fan. I'm a big fan.
Well, I'm gradually getting there, but I've got some equipment from it. So
yeah.
So here I think he's got a couple of choices. I think he's probably just going to put a bit of. Oh, I thought he was going to put some left on it and either take it to one side or put right on it and try and come around the bottom.
Did he get away with that though? Does the 4 slip just past that 9 ball?
I think he did, and I think he got a bit lucky there.
Came out a little bit flat on the angle here. Again, right, going to have to put a stroke on this, and this is typically where, if you don't hit center pocket, this is where she rattles up.
I think he can hit just dead backspin. I think it'll catch the rail and come out.
Yeah.
Does he 50-yard line it? He's probably okay.
Not terrible. Not as bad as what it could have ended up being, for sure.
Yeah, this is one of these shots that these guys are well known for, where you just play a bit of back left on it, hit it to the rail, and have it come back out.
Yeah. Which is very typically Albert, right?
Go forward and 2 rails and right to the center of the table, which is also nice.
Well, and Albert's really surprised me this tournament, because normally, like, Albert loves to put that juice on the cue ball, loves to move that ball. And there's a few shots, such as that one, where, I would have bet on the bank with you that he was just going to draw that out. But he played the natural line shape as opposed to the force line.
And there's something to be said for that. One of the challenges in my own game that I've been trying to do is to try and play things a bit more simply. And the advantage of that is playing more simply. You're going to make less errors in general, and you're going to be able to be more consistent. And so
100%.
Seeing that from Albert and seeing him hitting a simpler game, if you will, that's definitely going to give him rewards, and I think we're seeing that right now here.
Absolutely.
As he looks to go up 6-4, right to the hill.
He looks to go to the hill here. And he's got full capability of a break and run on the next rack.
There he is.
Albert taking charge.
So now it's up to Joe. He's got to hit 4 in a row here if he wants to keep advancing here. And Albert just needs the one game. That definitely puts a, when you're down that much. I've come back from this sort of thing before, where the opponent's to the hill and you've got 3 or 4 racks to run. But there's, definitely I think your mindset changes from how am I doing each particular rack to, okay, I can't lose this rack, because the next rack is over. So you're constantly just focusing on win this rack.
Yeah. Well, and that all comes with experience, and it's a spot that Joe's been in 1,000 times. So you won't find Joe quit. He's never going to give up. He'll do the same thing. Take it one game at a time. I know his mindset right now is, I just need to win this game. That's it. It doesn't matter about the games after that. I just need to win this one. And he'll carry that mentality forward into the next game. I just need to win this one.
Oh, and certainly he's got the game to be able to do that. You don't get as far as you do.
Yeah.
So dry break from Albert.
Kicks the camera a little bit.
So do you like playing off the rail here for the contact, or would you rather take the push here?
I think I'm actually going to play the push.
And then the big question is, when you get to that, coming in on the table, is where do you push to?
I'm going to push straight into that 5 ball. I might even put the 5 ball into the 2.
Try and tie him up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, because I know I'm not going to like my shot. If I play into that 5 ball, put the 5 into the 2, tie up the 2, I'm not going to like my shot on the 1 ball, and I'm okay with that, because I'm just trying to prevent a run out, and right now it's a runnable table.
Well, he's taking the push and he's going away instead of towards. That
was the other set him right onto the rail or close to it.
Well, this is the other way I was looking. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that you don't really have to do a whole lot with the cue ball and the 1 to take it down for the deuce, if you can see it, which Albert gives it back to him, so I suspect he probably doesn't have the whole ball.
And obviously this is the shot that Joe wanted, right? So I don't know whether he quite got there. I think he was trying to set him right onto the rail, and if he did get to the rail, then it's a full ball hit on the 1 ball. But I think he came up just a tad short, and so now you're looking at, again, that cross bank type of safety, potential collision with the 5 ball or any of them. Look out.
Oof. But he left it.
He did. The bonus to this is it's not an easy shot to shape back on the 2. Even if you use the 7, right, when you're potting the 1, load up with tons of left-hand spin, use the 7 ball, you're not guaranteed to hit that 7 full in the face, and if you do, it's still tough.
Or you just go and play safe like that, which is the much smarter play.
It is very much so.
That's what I like about how Albert's playing right now as well, is that he's staying within himself. He's not really going crazy and trying to run out everything where it doesn't make sense to.
Well, you take his game last year, and he cuts that 1 in all day long. And
Very
he tries to go up and down, right? So you can see the improvement in Albert's game.
Oh, just missed it.
Joe is just not getting the love out of the table.
It's those little quarter inches that make a real difference. All right, well, here we go. Looking for the glory here.
I don't know if I like this. The full table run is there.
What I don't mind about this is from the angle that he's playing, he's just going to roll into the 9 here, so it plays like a 2-way, but he has a chance for the immediate win.
This is typically, if I try this stuff, this is where I get punished, right? Something weird happens, I miss it, the 10 comes around and just sits with a natural 1-10 combo for my opponent.
Oh, just like that, but he played it well.
He did play it well.
I agree with you. One of the big challenges with that is if you're playing it to roll forward to touch the 9, if it hits and leaks out, then you're giving away a free table. But he played it with stun, which pretty much guarantees that he's going to be behind the 9. So that was a smart play.
Yeah.
And again,
but again, I like to look at, the fact there's nothing tied up on the table. If there was clusters, okay. But you're giving Joe a free shot at the table if you miss that 10 ball. And I'd rather cinch the match, put it away right then and there. So I'm just going to run the table, right? And Albert, now, when I say if I had Albert's game, let's clarify this.
Fair enough.
All right? If it was me at the table, then I'm playing chicken or I shank it or whatever anyway. But good hit.
Good hit.
And we'll
but
see if
can't
Joe
really do
gets
much.
rewarded. See,
No, he can't really do much with it.
no,
It's
but
gonna
I
leave
mean,
him a chance for safety.
he hasn't left a sellout table. He's forcing Albert to play back at him, and he's still at the table.
So-
and that's in Joe's mind, right? He's still at the table.
The one thing I was thinking of with that is that the one didn't really have a really good pocket to start with from where it was kind of tied up with stuff to get down to the 2. And by playing a safety like that where you have a chance at it, the other aspect is that he's putting all the pressure back on Joe, who knows he can't afford to lose the game. And that pressure, you're going to want to say that you should play every rack the exact same way. But pressure racks, doing some of those things which he might be having a problem on. Now, he played a really good safety here as well, right? Again, that's putting a lot more pressure than it otherwise would on Joe.
I don't know. I think Albert's got some pressure on him too, right? There's one thing to get onto the hill. It's a whole different thing to close escrow on a match, knowing that your opponent is Joe Spence, knowing you've got perhaps a few chances that you normally wouldn't get out of Joe. And I don't think the pressure's so much on Joe. I actually think the pressure's more on Albert to close this out.
Well,
Because Albert also knows if you let Joe sniff at this table on an open table, you're not getting back to it.
I hear what you're saying. What I see from this is that Albert's playing really well. He's got the lead from it. He's got all the confidence in the world.
For sure.
He should play like he has all the confidence in the world, and he is. It's where I see that pressure would start to form on him is Joe has to win 4. If he were to lose, for example, 2 games, and then all of a sudden it's just a 2-game lead, that's when I would see the pressure really start on Albert, and that's where some of these players tend to have issues.
You can see right now the mentality that Albert's using. So he's fouled Joe once, and instead of taking ball in hand and concentrating on running the table, he's now looking at how can I 3-foul? How do I get out of this quick? So you know he's feeling that pressure. Don't let Joe at the table, simply because he's got wide open spaces here, and he's looking at the 3-foul options.
And he's looking at the 110 combo.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, and I think that's the wrong way to go here.
Oh,
He's been hitting the balls
100%.
really well.
Yeah, just like, what are you doing? Run the table.
Yeah,
You got the skill.
You can hit this into the top left corner, and you can stun it just off that left side rail all the way down to the bottom, and you're off to the races.
That's it. And I mean, there's some back and forth, right? 2 to the 3, 3 to the 4. Once you've done 3 to 4, right? 6 is potentially an issue, but set up fairly well, lays well with a 6-8 combo. Right? And I think this is going to be a mistake for Albert.
Even if he wins it, it's probably the wrong mindset, and mindset is so important in this game.
It is, right? Joe kicks like a mule for the most part, right? He's got a little unfortunate in these ones, but I think Albert's attacking this kind of with the wrong mentality.
Yeah, and he hits it well, and he gets a reasonably good result. So now Albert has to try and win it all over again.
That's right, and now in a worse position than he would have been had he taken that ball in hand on the 1 ball and positioned it to play shape to the 2.
Yeah, I think what I would do here is you just go over the top of the 1 and just hit it very softly, and then just put the cue ball behind the 2-7.
Yeah, use the 2. Yeah. Good call. I don't know that that's going to work. It still leaves that 1 rail hit for Joe, right? Off that bottom rail, kick it.
True, but I think that's the best option he had at that point.
I agree. And look at this.
Oh,
Look at this.
Got unlucky. I think he has a pretty good one rail kick here.
This is typically where the tables turn for me, right? If I have the chance to bury the match, you've got to take that chance.
Well, and I think that's what he was thinking of with doing the 3-foul or the 110. But to your point, if you're running racks, keep running racks. Don't change your game plan.
Right. In my opinion, he's let his foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Now, all Joe is waiting for is for Albert to make that one critical mistake. Let him see an open ball, give him a ball in hand, and this game will be in Joe's control.
Joe's patience on this is really good.
Yeah, I've got so much respect for Joe's game after seeing him perform the way he did in Niagara Falls when I played on Barry's team. I was a guest. Yeah, the knowledge that Joe has in his head on what to do, how to do it, when to apply the pressure, when to back off. It's absolutely impressive.
Well, he's going to need to bring all of it here right now, where he's got a really long ball that's tough.
Yeah,
I almost don't want to
test.
I almost don't want to take this on. I almost want to go across the top of it, potentially play safe, putting the cue ball up behind the 8.
Yeah, tough.
And
You're
bring
gonna
the one down the table.
It's almost a double hit no matter which way you go.
Again, this is when you're trying to do a cross like this, you look to the corner and see if the cue ball can see the whole pocket, and if you can't, then the double probably doesn't go.
Look out. Oh, it gets a little bit of helper.
But I think you can see a full ball.
Yeah, let's Albert see full ball. Given the circumstances of where that was going, though, that could have ended up a lot worse. Is this the critical mistake? Not quite yet.
It wasn't a sellout, but trying to hit it that thick to get behind the 8 is really tough from where he was at.
And you know what? Let's give props where props are due to both of these guys for batting around this one ball, playing safe. You know, maybe a little bit lucky, maybe a little bit fortunate on a couple of shots, but you got to give credit where it's due. Both of these guys are just playing awesome right now.
Yeah, neither one's giving an inch, and this is
so
really what you want to see on a match, is two guys who are never giving in and playing each rack strong.
Yeah. This is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
I don't know whether he was thinking he wanted to pot that, but
if that 2-7 is wired up, you might see Joe try this. Right, rail first, exactly.
And he calls it.
Yep.
I think he can just hit the left side of the 2 and still be okay. I don't even think he needs to go off the rail.
It seems like it's a reverse cut angle, even with that separation between the 2-7.
Well, he's hitting it from left to right, so that's going to pull the 2 ball or the 7 ball a little bit to the right, but I don't think it'll go much depending on how hard he hits it. Just like that.
Oh, that nice little rock back at the last second. Did you see that on the 2? That might be the helper right there.
Little divot in the table pulling it back.
Yeah, exactly. Might be able to play into this 10 ball here. Nice bottom right hand, play into the 10. Hopefully stick the cue ball. I don't think at this point the 3 passes the 8 to the top right hand corner.
But depending on the angle, the combination there is relatively straightforward.
It is. What you don't want to see is the cue ball off the 2, off the 10, and scratch the top left.
Yeah, you either want to go full into the 10 or you want to go completely past it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it almost goes completely past it.
Oh, he's playing safe. I think he might give up a window.
No, he's good.
I think he's got... If he doesn't have a piece of it, I think he actually can...
I think he's got a 1 rail kick for sure.
Yeah.
To the bottom.
Really easy peg you line kick in the butt.
One of the ones where you can kick and stick.
Yep.
But the direction where you're kicking it, it's going to come off the left rail and towards that 8 ball, so the chances of you pulling it safe are not great. But
I think he actually hits it thinner. I think it goes up towards that side pocket behind the 10 ball.
No, I see.
Right, because there's a lot of distance between the 2 and the rail. So he can get in there pretty deep. Nice effort. Horn help for Joe. Not so lucky this time.
No wonder. He's absolutely going to play safe here, but if the score was, say, 1-1, does he take the bank on with the 6 making that pocket a little wider?
I don't think so because of the shape to the 3. If the 3 was in a different position, then I think that would be, a valid effort. But with With no guaranteed shape on the 3 ball, I think it's always going to be safe on this too.
Yeah, I agree. You tend to play safe more when there's more balls on the table. As it gets less and less, you have to be more aggressive.
He was hunting behind that 8 ball again, but not terrible. You know,
No.
the 8's gonna kind of hamper the bridge on the cue ball a little bit. And really, again, right, same rules apply. Making the 2 ball does really nothing for you. Right, the shape to the 3 is tough.
Well, the only difference here is that he only has the top side of the cue ball because of the 8, but he only really is trying to hit it with a roll forward. So he's probably going to take this on. It's no easy shot, but if you do it and you actually manage to roll it the way you want, it's the rack.
How do you get shape to the 3 though?
Well, he decided to play it safe, but from there, I think if you just play it with top, it's going to come to the rail and it's going to come out towards the 6. Because he had a bit of an angle on it.
I think that's asking a lot of that cue ball.
And that's why he played safe.
Now, but to your point, the tables have been playing pretty lightning quick, so the shot is there. The execution, however, is certainly a little tougher. Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, that 9 ball.
Unlucky
with
with the 9, but he still played the 2 ball into a great spot.
He did. Well, and I think for the shot for Albert here is just shave the light off of the 2 ball, send it kind of back up and into the 4, and send the cue ball 3 rails around.
A bit of a weight shot.
It is, yeah. Just like this. Just like this.
Oh. Does he go behind the 8 on this, or just behind the 9's good enough? But oh, that's going to make it so much harder.
That is. Can you see live? Can he see down the? If he can see down the rail, there's a potential hit off the bottom rail. Right, a little bit of left-hand spin on the cue ball.
The 8 actually just catches the edge of it. So between the 8 and the 6, I don't think he's got a great one. The problem is he's got to try and spin it left. So he's got to try and hit it to the left of the 6 ball and then spin it back to the right. It's going to be a tough shot.
Yeah. Look at this.
Fantastic shot, but he left it.
He did, and now Albert's in on the shot on the 2, position to the 3. But here's what he's got to be cognizant of:
pushing the
6 to the rail.
Absolutely,
right?
or towards the 9.
Or towards the 9. I think he catches too much of the 6, or not enough of the 6 to push that to the 9, but certainly to the rail.
Well, I think you just hit it softly so that you come on the high side of the 6, and you might move it like a millimeter, but just leave yourself a harder shot on the 3 to make sure you don't get into trouble.
Is he looking at playing the deuce off the 6?
So play it hard?
Not necessarily need to.
I think he's thinking about trying to make it clean, but playing it with backspin, because that will naturally take it to the left side if he thinks the 3 passes the 8.
I would say, Joel, there's got to be at least 30 innings, 15 apiece in this particular game. Okay, so he did well there. He got that 6 off the rail, which is what you wanted.
But I didn't like it because he hit it harder than I thought he should have, and again, he pushed the 6 to the spot where it's now not really all that easy.
It's not, but given the options there, to underhit that and leave the 6 frozen to the rail, I think is a little more devastating than where that 6 is now.
Well, and given where the 5 is that if he gets to the left side and puts the 5 on the side, then you can just roll it towards the 9 and then play it down rail. So that's not the worst in the world, but it's a challenge.
Well, we'll see if he can hold the nerves, right? Because you gotta know closing escrow on Joe Spence is got to be a little nerve-wracking.
The toughest part about winning a match is winning it.
Exactly. Yeah, Jamie, this is A-side.
So he's left
He's
it
in perfect.
really good. He's went the other side than I was hoping for, but he should be able to play it just with either low or a little bit of stun low, and then just send it right towards that 9 ball.
Yeah, he's looking at playing this to the side. I don't know if I agree with that.
No, I don't like that at all because
I think you got to draw this. Yeah, you got to draw this to the 9 ball here.
I'd rather leave a bit of an angle and play it down to the bottom right, because then it just naturally comes off the rail for the 8 ball. I think the only thing he's thinking about is potentially he doesn't want to risk putting it behind the 9. So yeah, I like exactly where he left it there for putting it to the corner.
Mm-hmm. This all of a sudden became a lot more difficult on this 6 ball. And I think now he's starting to realize he can't put that 6 to the side pocket and really get any kind of decent shape. There it is. Oh my God.
That was the winner. Again, trying to win the one game.
That's it. Close an escrow. So does Joe go rail first here?
I think it's high enough out that he can hit it on
the left side
from our perspective, the left side of the ball, and just come straight out to the center of the table. He doesn't have to do too much with it because the 8's pretty good.
Just watch out for the 10 ball. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Perfect will work.
And you want to leave yourself high on it anyway to come to the 9.
Yeah, that was a great shot. Sometimes playing out of that corner, out of those corner pockets, can be a little bit tricky.
On the other hand, if you it forces you to do what you should have done already anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keeps you from getting too fancy.
So this, from what I'm being told, this is the A final. There we go.
And Joe pulls one back, only 3 to go.
Oh. Are you comfortable enough if I left you for 3 minutes?
I don't know. It's going to be tough. Yeah, I think you're fine.
Good.
As long as I don't have to push any buttons, I should be okay.
Wow, you got Ben sitting right here. I'll be right back.
Does he know how to push the buttons?
Ben knows how to push the buttons.
Okay, that's good. I think Grant is just going to take a 2-3 minute break here, so I think Ben Francis is going to just join us for a sec while he's away. Ben had finished his match, which I believe he won. And Joe just misses the last ball rolling. That 9 doesn't make it, so that's going to bring Albert to the table. Albert's just taking a quick break himself.
Oh, my timing was terrible then. Terrible time to sit in, although I guess in a way maybe not that bad of a time. I can put up some of these sweet posters.
Absolutely. I know Grant's been talking about it, just the new session that's starting on the 7th of February, and challenges for people of all skill levels, so definitely worth your while to, if you're just looking at doing regular practice where you hit racks, come and do this instead. It's going to give you much better practice.
The ultimate practice. A week from tomorrow it begins, so make sure you get signed up. Go check out the website.
So Ben, how was your match? We saw you playing over there. Didn't see the final result.
I played pretty good, actually. Big contrast from yesterday. I struggled yesterday. Couldn't string like 5 balls together. Today I played well. The break worked for once. Yesterday was not working. Today it was working perfectly.
And in 10 ball, that's such a big advantage if you've got a break that's going well.
8-3, I believe the score was. Kirby's fantastic player, too. He started to come back a little. I was up 5-1. He got to 5-3 by making 3 or 4 unbelievable shots.
Well done for you, then.
Albert's looking at me like, can I shoot? And I'm shaking my head like, no, just wait till your opponent comes back.
So I think he's going to take the 3 rail around. Oh, but he...
Crash and burn. So the feedback has been great. I read some of the comments on there. They seem to love your commentary.
Well, that's I'm happy they do. I'm happy I'm giving them some value for it. That's kind of my goal here.
Even Jeff got a message from an Edmonton player that said Chris is great on the mic for the first time. So,
well, thank you very much.
They don't send those messages very often.
I appreciate everyone's sentiments.
It's not easy the first time, you know. It takes some getting used to. Oh, look at this.
I think he had called the 9 there, so that was a good effort. But I think he's left a pretty straightforward shot. He's just going to touch the 2 and go into the 9, and then he'll have the 2 down the rail.
Just got to control this cue ball nice. You don't want to end up like right in the jaws.
But he left it out a little wider. He wanted to leave it a little tighter there so that he could potentially either come straight back or just stun it. Now he's got to move the cue ball a little bit.
I think he can miss the 5 here. Soft draw, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
He has the perfect stroke for those kind of shots, you know. He hits low on the ball so well. Warren wants to know, with a non-established Fargo, can I enter in level 8? Yeah, I would have to say most likely. I think they use known ability if you don't have an established rating. And knowing your game, Warren, definitely at least an 8. Joe looking good to claw one more game back here.
Well, and this was it. Ben, Grant and I were talking a little bit earlier on the last rack there because of it. Albert was trying for the quick win. And we were talking a little bit about pressure here. And if Joe manages to run this out and takes it back where he's 1-2 back on the snap here, I think the pressure then changes a little bit to Albert because, you know, he's got 4 games up and thinking he can close this out. But all of a sudden now it's going to tighten you up a little bit.
The walls are closing in. That's what happens in these matches. Can't let those leads slip, especially playing a player of Joe's ability. And as it gets closer, and I know they think the same way I do, they're like, I'm going to perform better under the pressure than he is. So if it goes hill, Joe's thinking, oh, he's a huge favorite, right? These guys, they feed off these moments. That's what they live for.
Absolutely.
And it's not always so much nerves as it is just excitement, you know?
Well,
adrenaline.
And when you're down that much, and plays it well on the 8, when you're down that much, you know, I've been in that situation before where, you know, you're down 4-1 in a race to 5, and you have to dig deep and just go, yeah, I've lost 4. You still have to win the 5th one.
That's
so,
right.
And with a guy of Joe's caliber, you know, you're going to see that that he's never going to give up. He's going to say, I'm going to win this rack, and then we'll see what next rack happens.
That's right. One rack at a time. And winner breaks, he knows he can keep in control here. He just needs a ball on the break. He can push if he needs to.
And that's
he'll have control.
Yeah, that's the only challenge. Joe's break has been a little bit tough right now. He hasn't had a lot of success on it. So
should be noted, this table breaks really hard. It's not easy to make a ball on this table.
Fair enough.
The balls don't want to go on the side so easily. So you watch that 9-5. Those are the balls you're trying to make. But look at this. He makes some other randoms.
The 7. He's going to make the 9. 3 balls off the break. That's exactly what he wanted. And look at the 1.
And nice little angle on the 1 here, too, because I don't think the 2 goes by the 5 in the side. So angle on the 1 is key.
So is he going to go off the top rail, or is he just going to hit it with low towards the side? Probably just go 2 rails.
My first thought would have been he would play it low because Joe likes to go, you know, playing bottom on the cue ball, but he went forward there. He came up a little long, but I think he's okay.
Well, as long as he doesn't move the 5 right to the rail, he should be fine.
He's going to punch it hard enough to get that 5 to bounce, I think. Oh,
he's going to make them both.
Time saver.
And you've got that sort of a stroke, kind of make it look easy here.
He can't wait for it to be hill. That's what that was. Just going to leave angle on the 2 to make both these balls at once. So I think if he just plays like a little stop shot here, he'll have angle on the 6 to go 3 rails around for the 8 in the same pocket as 6.
Come off the rail and come back out.
He did look over, yeah, so he did have a little bit more angle than I thought.
I think he was trying to come to bring the 6 to the right here just so that he had it straight forward, and he did fine.
Yeah, and then lay the 8 up in the top left. He might have too much angle to do that. He might come above the 8.
No, he'll hit it softly here, I think.
Slow juice. We got a bit of a big bounce, but he's okay. This is his kind of shot. To get it hill as well. This is some big moments here.
Well, and a break and run that's given him all the confidence in the world.
And kept Albert in his chair, which is even more important.
Oh, he hung it.
Oh, he hit it a little funny.
He got away with it, though.
But yeah, at least he didn't hang it, yeah. That one's in his head a little bit. That same shot, he said. He missed it a couple times. It does start to become a factor when you're You're missing them. I bet when this match is over, he's going to hit that shot a handful of times.
By a handful, you mean 100? Yeah, probably.
As many as he can before the next match, yeah.
Well, but still, no easy way to the win here for Albert.
So do you try to thin the left side of this ball and send the cue ball kind of near the 10?
Well, I'm thinking that, but the other thing is that with the angle he's got here, you can probably play it off the top and left rail to bring it down behind the 10 and just kind of leave him a snooker shot with the cue ball and the 8 ball on opposite ends. I don't think you go for it here.
Oh, he tried to like thin it or play rail first and kick it in. That was a brave shot.
It is, but this is, of course, the problem, right? Like when you're tightening up a little bit, playing those really tricky shots, your tightness tends to make that mistake, and then it's worse because now you're tighter.
Nothing is easy when you start missing balls, and then it seems like every shot you get is twice as hard as the last one, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of why I liked the safer alternative there.
I definitely would have contemplated thinning the left side of it. I don't even think he did. I think he only ever looked at playing rail first to cut it in. And what a shot Joe comes with. That was a very underrated shot. He made that look way easier than it was. That shot was super tough under the circumstances as well, you know?
And here we go. Hill, hill.
Hill, hill on the feature table. Let's go Joe one time. It's no secret that I'm slightly biased in this match.
Well,
as said by his shirt.
And Deborah, you know, Rick can miss football on this. You know, watching a match like this, I think it's worth it.
Well, and the football game is going to be on for a while, so.
I'm not a big fan of college ball anyway, so.
Isn't it the Grey Cup playoffs this weekend?
Yeah, it all seems like college ball to me, especially if there's pool.
Flag football? Is it no touch?
Yeah. You got the football up on the one screen here, and you can see there's curling up on the other, so you got your choice of sports.
And we got pool. We're watching Eric Vargas playing the final in Billings, Montana as well. Meanwhile, let's see how the break works. Does he make a ball? He does not. But I don't think this 1-2 combination is that easy. In fact, I think it's quite tough. Depends where the 6 is. Will the 6 hold the 1 ball there?
I think it does. So if he plays it just low, I think the 6 either holds it or it comes off the 6 and goes towards the pocket. So,
but it shouldn't end up behind the 6. I don't think it
will.
Unless he's going to roll it. No, he stunned it. Yeah, and see the 6 kind of held it, but it brought it out.
He hit it a little bit heavy, I thought.
Yeah, I definitely thought he was going to hit that just a touch softer. He wanted to make sure he got the pot, and as you could see, barely got the pot. That ball wiggled in.
Well, that's where hitting it softer definitely has the value, right? It makes the pocket a little bit larger, and with a shot like that, you're not moving things around as much.
I like Troy's comment. NFL playoffs. We know, Troy. We're just just joking. Silly Canadians. We don't know nothing about NFL.
Yeah, if it's not lacrosse or curling, we don't know.
That's right.
So he left a good safety because it's pretty tight. So Joe can certainly hit it, but I don't know if he can do a whole lot with it except just try and play it softly.
Oh, he goes 2 rails and misses it. Oh, no.
But again, the advantage of that shot is that even if you miss it or slightly push it towards the 6, you're not really leaving anything easy.
The problem is Albert loves these kind of situations. He's always looking for the quick win.
So play the 3 foul.
Trying a 3 foul. But the problem here is he's going to put the 1 in the middle of nowhere. I don't think he can get the 1 to a good spot where the next foul is.
I don't like this.
Or the next hook is very makeable.
It's too. Well, he hit it okay, but he left it pretty easy.
Oh, is it Hill Hill?
Yeah. It is indeed hillage. So Joe's got to kick from this top rail and send the 1 towards the bottom right corner or the right side, but I feel like he should call one of them.
Yeah, I almost liked taking it from the right side of the 1 and glancing off the 1 and coming up table here because it's going to make it a lot harder.
Did he call the side? He did. He did.
Absolutely. Fantastic shot there.
Unbelievable.
Well, and as you've mentioned on this stream before, you know, with a shot like that, you always call it because you just want to make sure that you, if something like that does happen, you have the option about what to do rather than your opponent giving you the option.
That's right. And you brought up a good point when Albert played the safe. He didn't play it that good.
No.
I thought if he was going to do that, he had to send the ball way further down table. Send that one all the way down, like, you know, at least near the 5.
Well, and this is the case of whether you wanted to control the cue ball or the object ball there, and I think he went the wrong way on that.
And I think he could have done a little of both, but...
Well, he was so close to it
that
that he
was
didn't
tricky,
have a
yeah.
lot of... He can't really send it very large
enough
without
momentum.
risking a double hit. Now, Joe's made the combo here, but left himself a bit of a tester.
I think he's got to play safe here. I don't like the path of the cue ball.
I like the bank at some point, but not hill.
In the first game, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe you do what you were mentioning here is you thin it on the left-hand side and come 2 rails out to put it behind the 9 and the 10 and just leave the 3 ball right about mid-table.
Near the
up
4.
at the top. No, try and leave it.
He's pretty close to the ball, yeah, so he might be able to even hold it more than that.
He's calling it.
Is he sending the cue ball between the 7-9?
Yeah, that's where I was looking at him.
No, he was purely playing safe there. He called it just in case he hit it funny, right?
Yep. But that was the path that I was seeing from that on the left-hand side. He hit it good.
Very good shot. Albert is stunned. He's not sure what's happened here. How did this score end up this way?
Well, and he's got a tough one. The 4 kind of protects the 3 on the right-hand side, and the 7 protects the bank on the left-hand side.
He's in jail here. Yeah, he did have ball in hand on the 1 ball. That is noteworthy. He played a weak safe, and Joe kicked it in. Oh, and a couple games ago, he also had ball in hand. Jeffrey taking off.
Well, he's going to have to try and take it off that side, and hits it perfectly.
What a shot. That is unbelievable stuff
But
from
he
these two.
leaves the window.
Oh, that's fairly unlucky because it looked like he was going to be blocked by the 4 there, but
A little bit softer or a little bit harder, and he's good. But
that was some kind of shot. He only had about half of the ball to hit it there.
yeah, he played that really well.
The CC gives you a laugh. Yeah, I've watched the stream a handful of times with the CC on it, and it's hilarious. They can't pick up our Canadian accent properly. This is coming short. He wanted this way further out.
You should call it AC for autocorrect.
Yeah, there you go. This actually doesn't lay too bad. I think he just plays this with like middle ball top and goes back and forth out to middle
Yeah,
table.
he should play the high side of the pocket on top of the side. Just kind of let it roll.
Oh yeah, it'll be above for sure.
Yeah.
And just back out to middle. And I
Perfect.
always preach this. Good players, you watch how many times in a rack their cue ball's in the middle of the table. It's just like, it always works from there.
Well, you're always going to leave yourself an option.
And they're so comfortable with putting it there, right? Because they do it all the time. So it's like their go-to, their speed control getting to middle table is better than anything, right?
There's a couple of really good drills on that where you have balls in the corners and the goal is to bring it back to the middle table and then you reset the balls and keep going. And
That's right.
I've been trying to do that just to working on that center ball activity, and it pays dividends.
So what a moment here for Joe to try to put himself in the hot seat. 3 more balls away. Needs a big bounce off the side rail. He got it.
He's just fine there.
1 good shot away now.
I think he's probably just a little stun follower. He might just stun it to the right and put it in.
Yeah, I think he'll put the 10 in the same hole, possibly. Depends how straight he is.
He's aiming low, so I agree.
Yeah, beautiful. Albert says that's fine. That's good.
Wow, what a match.
What a comeback from Joe. Unbelievable stuff.
You know, congratulations to Joe for making it to the hot seat. Good play by both guys. It was a really, really good match. You know, if there's one to get your first commentary on, this was a great one to do.
Hey, you jumped in at the perfect time. And thank you for doing that too while I'm playing and helping out Grant as well. It's tough to do it by yourself, so.
No, not a problem at all. Happy to help, and it's great to watch a good match and even better to be able to comment on it.
So I think we're going to take a few minutes break. We're waiting on the next match, which will be myself versus the winner of Jedman and Mike Robinson. So I think I'm going to guess around 20 minutes, half an hour until the next match. So make sure, if you guys haven't already, like and subscribe our Facebook and YouTube. And we'll be back shortly. Thanks again, Chris.
Thanks for having me. Everyone take care.